You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to learn more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where we have past podcasts, blogs, and a couple items for sale. So check us out, beardedtheologians.com. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold.
So this week on the podcast, we were looking at the lectionary, and one of the scriptures that kind of jumped out at us was Matthew 10, 40 through 42. And Zach, I know you like to read those, and so I'll let you read that, and we will move forward.
Yeah, I do like to read those because for those who are driving, I don't want you to read and crash. So Matthew 10, 40 through 42. Those who receive you are also receiving me, and those who receive me are receiving the one who sent me. Those who receive a prophet as a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. Those who receive a righteous person as a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. I assure you that everybody who gives even a cup of cold water to these little ones, because they are my disciples, will certainly be rewarded. Outside of that being an extra wordy piece of scripture, I like it. What rings true or rings out for me is the way in which we receive people in community. Each example here that's given is when you receive somebody in this way, when you receive people in a positive way, when you receive people in a loving way, when you receive children by simply giving them water to drink, right? There's something good there. It's letting go of all of our preconceived notions. It's letting go of whatever we feel is going on in the community, whatever we see on the outside, and just looking at people as people and receiving them in the same way in which Jesus receives people, in which the ways in which Jesus sees people as simply people. And so that's really, in a nutshell, what that scripture pulls out for me.
Yeah, as I was looking at it and kind of prepping for today, I think of the idea, especially in the midst of COVID, we talk about welcome, and how do we do that with everything going on? Like, how do we welcome people online in worship and stuff like that? And my practice has been, even before COVID, because we were doing online worship before COVID, like we had a broadcast before. I always made sure that we engaged the audience. And one of the things I picked up for when we did our Amplify Bearded Theologians videos that you can check out on the Amplify Media platform was the camera is the third person. And so like I've just tried to get our people to understand that that's the congregation right now. That's the congregation, and we need to be very welcoming to them. We need to bring them along like we would on a Sunday morning. We need to invite them to stand. We need to invite them to do those things so that way they still stay in that habit. So when we come back, it won't be so lost. And I found that people really responded very well to that. And we just say that that's the congregation. We treat them as such, and we look at them like we're looking at them. And we're learning still, like a lot of people are, but I think it's made a world of difference on how we handle worship. And I see the same thing within everything that we do. You never know who you may be welcoming when you when you welcome a stranger. And I know that like the Levitical laws like demanded that you do that, and that was part of the way that they were supposed to live, and it's the way that we should live now. And I think about how often we don't do that. And, I think of that last line, whoever gives me a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of the disciple, I truly, I tell you, none of these will lose their reward. I think about like when we want to, take care of our neighbors, like really try to take care of our neighbors. And, especially with COVID, we can, there are ways that we can do that by helping out and being present in whatever way we can.
Well, I think the thing about this scripture that a lot of people get lost in is that reward part, right?
Mm.
Because we are a reward based society, right? You do something good, you get something in return. You do something bad, you get something bad in return. Um, and and I think we as Christians, as disciples, as people who read this scripture, go, oh, if I do something good in return will happen. And I don't think that's what Jesus is getting at here. I think what Jesus is getting at here is less of the reward and more of the community, more of receiving people, more of valuing uh, humanity and dignity, right? Because each piece is that, whether it's the righteous, the prophet, or the child, or whomever, it's approaching them with humanity and with dignity and with love, not to get the reward in return, but to approach people in those ways. And so I think for us, we can't get caught up in well, I'm only going to do this because I'll get a reward out of it, or if I do this, something good will happen. uh it's not how that works. It's not. Doing good things and loving people is not a good luck charm for something good to happen to you.
Right.
And we don't need to get lost in that.
Right. And it kind of borderlines on that prosperity gospel thing.
Oh, 100%, right.
And like, we have to be careful with that. And that, like, just because you give doesn't mean you're like everything's going to be perfect. Like, I think that one of the things the church has done badly, and it doesn't matter what denomination, I've seen it in every denomination, is that idea of like following Jesus and everything's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the freaking truth.
Mm-hmm.
That the real truth is like following Jesus is a lifelong process of discipleship. It's not easy. It's something that will stretch us and call us and help us grow in our faith and our love. And the hard part is like we've glossed that over with like stuff like this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you do these things, if you come to Bible study and worship, everything will be all right. And the person that may be coming may be like, dude, I just lost like 3 friends this week, and it ain't all right. And like having to live into that, like,
Yeah.
God, man, we got to do better at like letting people know what the real cost of discipleship is.
Right. And I think when we take a look at this Matthew text, that it points to that is how do we do this? And it's not what we get in return. That's not the thing. It's how we receive one another in a way that Christ receives us. And especially in a time like now when tensions are high, when people are anxious, when the world around us is uncertain because we don't know when we're going to get back to anything regular, because we're just seeing numbers continue to spike. We're seeing states who have opened up be in a bad way. And we've all just about had some friends, family, or somebody in our community deal with COVID directly. And it's hard. It's tough. And we want to do the best that we can do for people. And I think, put a mask on when you go outside, because this is how you're going to receive people, right?
Yeah.
That's what Christ is talking about here.
I think I saw something along the lines that said, kind of taking Matthew or John, 1 John 4:19 at a, kind of in a different context. I wear my mask because I first loved you, or something along those lines.
Right.
And I think about that, like, my mask is a sign of love. And when I
Mm-hmm.
put it on, it's to take care of my neighbor, but to also take care of myself as well. And I know that, like,
It's
and
a both
so,
hand.
I think that's a good place to land today, is to think about how in the midst of COVID, can we safely welcome our neighbors, and welcome strangers into our lives. And like, how can we do that in a healthy, safe way, that is giving a cup of water, that is taking care of people. I think that's a good place to land for today. We want to encourage you to go to our website at beardedtheologians.com and check out all of our great material and stuff that we've got up there. If you're needing a Father's Day gift because you forgot about it, just say it was in the mail, order a Bearded Theologians hat or something, and just say, hey, Dad, it was in the mail the whole time. Zazzle just took a long time, COVID, those sort of things.
COVID-19.
Hashtag COVID-19, yeah. That's always a good thing to do. I sent my dad some stickers for Father's Day, and he was excited. He could care less about the Cardinals hat I sent him. He was really excited about the stickers. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Thanks for checking us out. Sweet.
First, guys, I want you to subscribe and like this video and push that thumbs up.
Thank you for listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all social media outlets. You can check out old episodes and more information at beardedtheologians.com. Thanks for checking us out.